Hey everybody, it's Prof Sales
and Karin
coming at you with another video, and we haven't spoken in a few days, so we got lots to talk about today. So it is Monday, December 5th. December. That's weird to say already, isn't it?
Christmas is like what, 2 weeks away?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. There.
Yeah, Christmas is pretty close, and I'm gonna turn this off if you're gonna be on there. Is that cool?
Yeah.
So we are excited about that. Hope you guys have had a good last several days. I don't guess we've had a video since what, Friday, Thursday?
Since November.
Since November? Has it been since November? Maybe it has been. I gotta pull it up so you can see it.
But we digress.
Sorry, we're having technical issues here. We changed our office around, so we're figuring out what that looks like and if it's gonna work or not. Hopefully you guys can hear us okay. So please let us know in the chat if the sound is all right.
Check 1 1 2 2 boogie
Check
boogie.
hey 1 2 1 2. And just give us a heads up and let us know if you have any sound issues. We think it should be good, but you never know. It is the internet, and things do crash. All right, so we're going to talk about sales today. We're going to talk about some new organizational things we're doing here, and we're going to talk about how to list or how to be a more effective lister on eBay.
What did you say? Maximize listing while minimizing time.
Yeah, it was really weird to come up with a title for that. So I think our title kind of stinks, but whatever. We're going to go with it.
Whatever.
Anyway, so how's everybody doing today? I hope you guys are having good sales. Let us know in the chat. We like giving shout outs. Who all is already here? I've already seen several people here.
I saw Lauren and I saw Henry.
Yep. Spiky, Abraham.
I can't even read that.
Mario, Hank.
Hi, Hank.
Linda, Dan, Martin, and who else? And that's about it so far.
Abraham said he got his first 10 jeans listed today.
Nice. Congrats, Abraham. That's awesome. Dan's already asked a question. Dan is on the stick. He says, would you say take all your pictures first and make the listing? Yeah, that is how we do it. And the reason we do that, and we'll get more into that in a little bit because we're actually going to talk about photographs a decent amount. Mm-hmm. But the reason we take photos first and then list is sometimes you take photos, you realize defects, you find little flaws, and you realize that you're not going to list this item, or you need to list it for a lower amount. But if you do the listing already and then you go in and take the photos later, then you kind of got to go back to the item if you see something in the photograph process and change the listing. So I just think it's more effective and efficient to photograph and then list, but I guess people do it different ways. Yard Time says, got my first pair of Miss Me jeans, couldn't even enjoy them, they sold in 2 hours. Yep.
Oh, good for you.
That's usually the case.
They usually don't last very long.
So anyway, but so what have we been doing? And we're going to cover sales too, guys. We'll show you how December is going so far. And we went to the outlet mall today.
We did. We went.
Yes. We have an outlet mall that's all like brand name outlet. These outlet malls that pop up that aren't really outlet malls. Is that how you would describe it?
Yeah. I don't even know why the word outlet gets put in there, to be quite honest.
Yeah. So this was an outlet mall that had like a Levi's store, a Lucky store, American Eagle store,
Tommy
Hilfiger, Nike, Coach, all kinds of places like that, sort of those medium level brands, I guess I would call them. I wouldn't say they're high level brands, most of them. And we went there just thinking we would source. How'd we do?
I don't know if I would use the word source to describe the time. At least we weren't there very long. Yeah,
we weren't there long, probably 45 minutes, maybe an hour. It's not far from our home either. It's maybe 20 minutes or so. But we struck out.
Big goose egg.
Nothing.
Nada. Zilch.
I found a pair of Levi's that were 5230s, but they were like a 529 was the make. I always think of, or the model.
What are we talking about?
It's really the fit number or whatever. but they wanted like $20 for a markdown, and they might sell for 40 with free shipping, but I'm like, I'm going to risk $20 to make the same profit that I make on jeans that I risk $5 for, So I thought, why would I risk 4 times as much money or spend 4 times as much money to make the same amount of profit? It just didn't make sense to me. So there was really nothing. How you want it so you can see it better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
But you just can't see much of it when you do that, but you can always close it, I guess. Sorry, we're having technical issues.
No, we're not. We're just disagreeing. You're telling me how to
Imagine that.
You're telling me how to be me again.
So we got nothing at the outlet mall and liked it. We did go to a Goodwill right after that and picked up about 10 pair and a puzzle. Nothing crazy. Nothing really to write home about, right?
No, not at all. I didn't like it.
So, but anyway, we might go back there after Christmas, after if they hit a strong markdown, some of those items would have been great. I mean, these are all new items, new with tags and so on. But, you got to watch outlet malls, guys, because what they'll do is they'll bring it in they won't bring it in at their retail price, but they won't bring it in at a discount price either. They'll bring it in somewhere in between, and then they'll take percentages off of that. So you think you're getting a really great deal, but it's not usually that great of a deal. Now, that's not the case in every outlet mall, but in a lot of them it is.
It's kind of like the love case at Goodwill, right?
Yeah. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but $20, $25 for new Levi's that are marked down. I mean, some of them were more expensive at one point, but there was nothing really that was great.
Nope.
Nothing we could have made a lot on. No blow it out of the water deals like so we've gone there a couple times now, and I think we just need to keep learning the lesson. It's not a great spot to source,
at least for us. I mean, some people,
at least for us, right?
Some people might have better
outlet
options than we do, but that one is just, and it's it's in a fancy neighborhood, right?
Yep. It's a brand new neighborhood. They're building all around it. It's growing up, but anyway. So we're doing some other things too. We wanted to share with you guys. We kind of remodeled this room. We took the photos. I don't know if you can tell the lights are normally behind me or not. And we took those all the way to the other end of the house in the sunroom and set up a photo studio there. We're trying some new things with listings and how we're going to photograph jeans. And we may even make a new video on it once we get our process perfected. But the long and the short of it is that we're going to try some full-length photographs for our listings for jeans. And we're also going to we're not going to take photos of measurements so much anymore. We're going to do the measurements afterwards. We may even batch the measurements together. So say we take like 10 pair of jeans, take all the photographs, and then we go back in and do the measurements and put a little card there with them saying what the measurement was. And then when we go to list those jeans, we'll just take the measurements right off the card. We're also going to try dropping the photos, if we can make it work, or on an SD card to the Mac and listing from the Mac. Now, that's a huge change for me. For any of you guys who know, I've been an iPad lister on eBay since day one. But there are some advantages to listing on a Mac or PC or laptop. And I'm going to try to take advantage of them. So we're trying some things. We're going to experiment. Karen's really excited about the experimentation.
Oh, yeah, not so much.
She hates change. But she forgets that we didn't start out the way that we're doing it now. Like it's evolved and it's changed over many, many months.
This is why you didn't want me for this part of the conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, you got something you gotta go do, or are you good?
Yeah, because I would not have been here to defend myself, right? No, we just are agreeing to disagree on this, right?
Yeah.
And what did I say to you earlier this morning when we weren't talking? I mean, when you were doing your thing and I was doing my thing, sometimes people just need to go through the motions and make their own mistakes.
Yeah.
And, you can try to prep them for that. It's like being the mother of a teenager. I have 2 in this house.
That's not a horrible thing to say. Well, she's right. I mean, when you go, you sometimes have to experiment and find different ways. And we're trying to be more effective. We're trying to really push up our listing total each month. And we're finding that we've hit some bottlenecks, quite honestly. Mm-hmm. And the answer is not to work harder necessarily. because you can only work so hard, and we do have a life outside of business. We have a life outside of, eBay, but we can definitely work smarter and hopefully wring out some more efficiency, wring out some more listings. So that's what we're going to work on doing. And it might work and it might not, but we're at least one of us is optimistic.
We're both maintaining a sense of humor, yeah.
Yeah. So, but what do you see the challenges with changing the way we photograph and do our listings?
Well, I think it boils down to this. And we talked about this morning. Your goal, you're on this end, that end
Right.
of quantity, right? And just as far as you're wanting to maximize the numbers, and you don't have to, I don't need a teaching in what that means and what that looks like. I get all that. I don't want to sacrifice quality because of that quantity. And I feel like if we're, if let's say our jean listings, for example, we put up 5 pictures minimum of each, right? I don't want to now change that to 3 and maybe we're missing out. Like the eBay myth that, and maybe it's myth, maybe it's true, who knows, Bigfoot, whatever. That if we have, the more pictures you have, the higher up in the searches. Is that
right?
That
that's the thought, that more pictures equals a higher search.
Mm-hmm. And the more we research other sellers as well, there's some truth to that people believe that, because we were looking at some the other day for a dress or something. But it caught my eye because it had 8 photos, but it was the same picture.
Yeah.
And it was like this, and then it was flipped, and then it was multiplied. So there were 3 of the same picture in the same collage frame. And so that's what my concern is. I don't want to sacrifice. I get that we have to work smarter.
Right.
I get that your idea of getting more listings is not me running around like a crazy woman, trying to work faster. I get that. But the balance is, we have to find the balance in what that looks like as far as not losing the quality of what we're already doing.
Right.
Because I really feel this is how I looked into the whole idea of changing anything right now. If it's not broken, don't fix it. And that's how I'm wired.
Right.
And you're kind of wired differently, and you are always trying to make it better. And that's not a criticism. It just is what it is. It drives me a little crazy sometimes, but it's not a bad thing. And that's why you've been as successful as you have, I think. So did I answer your question?
You did. And you're right that, this axiom that if it's not broke, don't fix it. I mean, there's a lot of truth to that. I would just say too, that things can always run better. And sometimes, there's seams and cracks in your operation, and you need to shore those up, or you need to just find a way to run faster and smarter and more efficiently. And that's what we're trying to do, guys. So we've been going through that. We've been going through, what our processes are. And, one of the things about improving your eBay listings is, I think that's really important, and maybe we've done a great job with it and maybe we haven't, is the flow of the listing. Now, let me explain what I mean by that, because somebody was asking about that earlier. So you have an item that you've bought, you've sourced, and now at some point you want to list it. But what does that look like? Because a lot of people will just take it and then they'll just go research a bunch of items that are similar, and sometimes they'll sell similar, sometimes they'll create their own draft. I mean, everybody's got their own different approach to that. But it breaks down to, if you want to do quantity, if you want to do volume, what you really need to do is figure out a system. I mean, if you look back at the history of, say, the Industrial Revolution, one of the reasons why we were so successful in creating this economy where we could produce massive amounts of goods was because we came up with an assembly line process. It's very simple, but you start with a product here and you make a change to it and you add this and you do this and you do this, and then at the end it's finished, right? to do volume on eBay or Amazon or anything. And when you're selling something like jeans, for instance, you're doing a lot of single SKUs. It's not like you have a lot of quantity listings. Everything's kind of individual for the most part. So you've got to find every little way to increase, your productivity. And I think having an assembly line mindset that the jeans come in and then they go here. They don't go over here. What did I do? I just hit your shoulder. I'm sorry.
Do they go on my
they go
shoulder?
Here on her shoulder. But they go in this spot, wherever this spot is. And don't change and tomorrow decide that you're going to put your listed jeans there or you're going to store supplies there. Like create a spot, create a location. And maybe if you're just starting out, guys, maybe that location is just a mail bin in the corner or it's one shelf on a set of shelves, whatever it is. But that spot is where you put your to be listed, your TBL, if you will. And then once you have decided to list an item, what's the process for that? Are you going to do photos first? Are you going to do the listing first? I think the photos makes more sense, but and that's how we do it because Karin takes photos and then they come to me and I list them. But you don't have to do it that way. It's whatever makes sense for your setup. And there's pros and cons to both approaches, I suppose. But if you're going to do it, commit to it for a while and see how it works. If you're going to say, we're going to take photos first, I'm going to take photos first, do that for a while. Do it for 50 listings, do it for 100 listings, whatever. Get a feel for it. Don't do it for one or two and you run into a snag or it seems slow or you can't figure out how to do this and you give up. You need to kind of give it a try. And that's what we're doing with kind of the new ideas. You got to give them a try to see if they work. Because at first, when you first do it and it's new, it's going to be hard. It's not going to feel natural. It's going to be confusing at times because it's new. Everything is that way when you start, right? I mean, that's just how we are as people. And then after that, if that's your process to start with the photo, then your next part is to list. All right, well, you photoed this item. Well, where does it go now? Maybe you can't list it right away. Maybe you want to take 10 photos of these things and then 10 photos of these and then put those somewhere. Again, you need a space, you need a location, you need a spot that doesn't really change. Or here's what will happen, guys. You will get confused. The worst feeling for me as being a reseller is when I cannot find something or I cannot remember what's going on with it. Like today, I got a pair of Coogee jeans here that were sitting here on my desk and we put them here, I think, Friday?
Probably.
I think it was Friday, just 3 days ago. The issue with them is they have a seam or they have a hem in the bottom that we're probably going to pull out. But if we pull the hem out, there's kind of a line around them where they've gotten dirty at the bottom just because they've been hemmed for so long. That happens a lot when people hem jeans. But the hem is coming out anyway. But this morning when I looked at them, I didn't know what was going on with them. Karin asked me about them. She said, oh, you're going to list those? And I went, wait, why are they sitting here? Because I broke my own rule and just laid them there. I didn't put a note on them. I had no idea what was going on. And I'm like, what is going on with these jeans? So then the process, if she wouldn't have remembered or I wouldn't have remembered, the process would have been, we got to look at it again and figure out what the heck we're doing with it, right? That's inefficient. It wastes time. And in this business, time is money, just like in any business. So you've got to have places to put things. You've got to make notes for yourself. You got to have a system of some sort or you will lose things, you will lose track of them, you will lose orders that you're going to give to that you need to send out, you can't find. I mean, inventory is just the back end of all this listing process. It's just the end of it until you sell it. So you've got to have a place for things, guys. I don't care what it is. I don't care how small or how big it is, whether it's a room, a half a room, a closet, a garage, a box, whatever you need, and then stick with it and use it. Use it. I know it seems like, oh, I don't want to put this here. I remember what's going on with this. And then life happens. And all of a sudden you don't touch it for 3 days and you come back and go, what the hell is this doing here? Why did I even put this here?
Well, and another thing along the same lines as far as why did we put something there? We're going to talk later about defects and our plan for that. And we're going to start in the moment making notes and sticking cards in our defect pockets so that we know what the problem is. Sometimes they'll immediately be jettisoned, but
right.
We're going to try to sell some of the jeans that we would ordinarily disqualify for, I guess, our main retail or whatever you want to call it on eBay.
Right.
But yeah, in the moment, make a note, put it in a designated spot.
Yeah.
Even if you have, marked places on your shelves. Okay, these are, if you are a put buttons on so holes back up kind of person, then that would be your repair pile or your defect pile or your whatever. Or get Post-its.
Need to test pile if you're doing electronics or video games or
needs batteries, needs testing, needs this, needs that, whatever. And just get better about that, because it's so easy. I mean, we're already challenged with our different, everybody has a different inventory system, right? And we all know, even with the best of systems, we can misplace things, right?
Oh, yeah.
So this is just another headache that is totally avoidable if you're just more proactive.
Yeah, totally agree. And, so this idea of listing, improving your listing efficiency, it starts with your organization. It starts with how you organize your items to be listed. It starts with organizing how you store the items that maybe have just been photoed or just have a listing made and still need the other piece. It starts with how do you store your items in your inventory after you've listed them? Where do you put them? And I can tell you guys, when I started out, and some of you might remember this, I had the dumbest system in the world. I mean, I don't mind admitting that. I mean, we lived in a different place then, but I had a black IKEA table that was about, how big was that table? Maybe 4x4. Mm-hmm. The big one. It was about 4x4, and it was about 18 inches high. So it was kind of like a coffee table. And I had stacks of jeans on that. Just stacks of jeans, and they were numerically ordered, but like this stack over here was 1 through 12 maybe-ish, but then you pull one out, and this one's over here has got like 12 or 13 through 28, and it was dumb. It made no sense. I couldn't find crap. The only thing that saved me was I didn't have a lot of things listed at that point. But I can tell you that even though, and I know you guys make fun of me sometimes for it, but, I had to create an inventory system. I had to go online and research inventory systems, because as I started getting 100 items and 200 items and 300 items and 400, there was no way the system I had was going to work. It didn't work. It didn't work even when I had a few dozen items, much less hundreds. So you have to have some sort of system, guys, for your listing process, what you do with your stuff while you list it. People don't talk about that part. Like, they want to talk about, here's how you list, and here's how you list really quickly. But what about where you put things? What about where you store things in that listing process? What about where you keep your supplies? What about where you keep your Scotty peeler for peeling off labels, or scissors, or a straight edge for a razor blade for cutting through things like a utility knife? Where do you keep your packing tape? Where do you keep your shipping supplies? I mean, these things are all part of your business, and listing and packing and shipping. They're all part of, this entire part of being a reseller. And if you leave all this stuff to chance, guys, doesn't mean you got to go create something elaborate, but it needs to be functional. It needs to be able to grow if it needs to grow. And it needs to make sense to you. It's got to make sense to you. So I know people will ask me all the time, like, what do you do? How do you label this or that? I'm like, I don't care how you label things or whatever. Just come up with a system that works for you and use it. Don't skimp on it. It will save you. I cannot tell you guys how many times my inventory system has saved my rear end from losing something. And yes, I have some redundancy in it between the way I copy and paste things on a spreadsheet, but man, it has helped me find items so many times because I've made mistakes. I've typed in a wrong number, or something went funky with the listing, whatever. And because of the way I set up these back end systems, I was able to find the item and ship it out and not have to cancel a sale, which is a problem. If you start canceling sales on eBay, it can become a problem. You can get your selling account suspended if you're constantly out of stock. So all this works together for listing, it works together for storage, works for packing and shipping, but basically come up with systems for how you're going to be organized for listing, where you're going to store things, the process you're going to do things in, and then what you're going to do after you have listed an item, where it's going to go from there. Those are all part of listing efficiently. Squeeze every little bit of productivity out of your system that you can. You know, if you can do, guys, I'll give you a perfect example. I don't have one of them free right now, but we have some mail totes, right? The ones you get from the post office. When I take my stock, when we've listed some jeans and I have them here ready to go upstairs to the inventory, I take them up in that mail tote, okay? No big deal, right? You can carry 20, 30, 40 jeans in that actually. You know, it gets kind of heavy, but you can do it. So I take that mail tote up there. I leave it up there because in the morning, when I go to process orders and I go up there, that mail tote is already there. I can load all my process orders in that mail tote and bring them back downstairs, process them, ship them, take them to the post office, come back, list some more items that day, put those items back in that mail tote, take them back up to the inventory room, put them away, and leave the mail tote there again. It seems like a little thing, but my inventory room is upstairs. So every time I need to go into it, I have to go upstairs and come back downstairs, which is a pain in the butt. It's a long flight of stairs too. It's not like 4 steps. It's not a split level. It's a full story. Little things like that save you so much time and headache over the course of a year. And it's just a little thing, you know, a little process, and it just makes it so much easier. So I don't know, I feel like I've been talking a while.
You know. So there are some things that you should probably address, some funnies. Like somebody that pays attention, I think it was King, said something about he'd heard somebody say they don't want to touch something twice. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I think it was you. King.
Yeah, King said about not wanting to touch things twice. That's exactly right. As little as you can touch the item, because every time you touch that item and do something with it, it costs you time. And time eventually costs you your money as well. Mm-hmm. We may have to turn the light. It suddenly got very dark in here.
Yeah, well, the sun's going down. I'll get that.
The sun is going down?
Here,
why was I not told about this?
Stay still. Let's see. How's that?
It's a little better, hopefully.
Anyway.
It's kind of like The Shining lighting, you know.
I wish I knew that song. I would sing it.
That's better. It's better. Yeah, so try not to touch things twice. Obviously, that costs you time. Let's see, what else did I miss? What else?
Just the world going by.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know. I'm sure I probably missed other questions, guys.
Chaosification always wants you to make templates, and you're gonna. I'm not sure when you came in SC, but I call silent Chaosification SC. I just
Chaosification, yeah.
Yes, I love that name. Anyway, we're gonna experiment with the DSLR, and that's a lot of light. One of the things that we think might work better is templates. So we'll let you know how that works out. But he's not saying never to templates, but we're gonna experiment with that a little bit as well.
Yeah. So we will see how that goes. I'm not opposed to it. It's just with one-off SKUs like we have, it's a little trickier to get a lot out of them because you're always having to change a lot of things in the template to make it fit that particular item. But we'll see if we can make it work. All right, let's share some results, guys. And thanks for watching, too. We've had as many as 60 people here in the room, so I do appreciate that. Karin, what should they do if they're liking the content and they're liking the video?
If you like what you see, you should smash the like button. I had to do the whole we represent.
She only does that accent for this. It's really strange. I don't know where it even comes from. But all right, so we're gonna go. I'm gonna show you how sales have been going and how we're doing. Let me go back to. Oh man, what did I just do?
I'm not sure.
Hopefully I didn't just like lose everything there. Okay. Here we are. All right, so we'll do a screen share and show you the spreadsheet, and it is somewhere. Let's see if I can find it here. Okay, there we go. I tell you, technology.
And
all right,
away we go.
All right, guys, so here is how we are doing on the day and the month, or the last few days. This was Friday the 2nd. We sold 10 for 306.60. Saturday 9 for 207.45. Sunday 10 for 298, and today has been 7, and actually it's been about 5 more. Today's been really busy. We're already like at 350 on the day, which is pretty good. A little slow start to the month, but not too bad, picking up. Let's see. So for December so far, we are at 43 sold through the first 4 days, which is a 1,200 gross. Everything all right?
Yep.
Oh. We've also seen a net so far of about 591. We have a really high net percentage so far right now. That's because, and you can see the net per jean is high. We sold a couple newer jeans. We sold a pair of Rock Revivals that went for, I don't even know what they went for, like $90 or something like that. So that was a good amount.
Yep.
I'll show you the graphs where we're at so far. See if I can get this to come up. Listed totals is right here, down a little bit from some highs. Sell-through is still pretty strong, up here around like 1.2 or so, I would say, on average, which is still good. Still seeing a nice climb with this sold, guys. I mean, this just amazes me. I mean, maybe a little drop in the last few days, but nothing crazy. And the gross per day has been strong. I mean, it's still up over $300. So I really, numbers are arbitrary, but man, I'd really like to have a $10,000 month.
Okay, poof.
And it's not like a $10,000 a month is significantly better than 9,800 or significantly worse than 10,200, but I don't know, it's just a nice round number, 5 figures, I don't know if we'll get there in December. It hasn't started off super strong, but who knows? So yeah, on the month, a 1216 gross so far in jeans. We've sold $26,000 of jeans since the middle of July. I don't know. You can decide if that's good or not. And our net is running right at $10.10 per jean, which I think is pretty good. So basically, when we see a pair of jeans, we pick it up, we're going to net just about $10 on it.
Mm-hmm.
So yep. I think that's a good total. We've got to get behind our listings, which we're going to do some more today and tonight, and pump those back up. We have been increasing our listings every month, but not nearly by as much as we would like. And that's where we've realized we are the bottleneck. We really are. And, that happens. But you have to figure out why you're the bottleneck. And Karin and I have been talking about it a lot. Like last month, we actually listed 456. Karin took 425 photos. I mean, that's as much as we've done. But we can only do so many with the current system. Now, there's a sale. Sorry.
Cha-ching.
I know, right? Gotta love it. So we can only do so many, but we've got to figure. It's not like we can just say, "Hey, we're going to double our efforts and we're going to do 850 and 900 in listings next month." I mean, that's just not the way it works. We can do more, but we can't do incrementally more. And the problem is, guys, you can see like when you're listing 456, but you're selling 314, you're not really making a lot of headway on your listing goal. So that was kind of the reason too, part of the reason for just, taking stock of what we do and how we do it and trying to find ways to increase this number and ways to increase this number without sacrificing quality, without burning us out, with still meeting our sourcing goals and so on. Anyway, all those reasons, but let me go back to the broadcast. All right, so there we are. Here we are.
Well,
I almost had a British accent there for a moment.
Cheerio.
Somebody asked, they said, you should make a video dedicated on accounting or spreadsheets. Yeah, there's so many topics on that. It's crazy. We know you can do 100 a day. It's all good. King, you bring up an interesting point there. We can do 100 a day. Oh, let me show you guys how we're doing on that. I forgot to show you that. I'm sorry. Somebody asked about that.
Just joking about the screen share being over.
Yeah, let me go back to that real quick, and then we'll go on other topics. But Here's how the 100 listings we did, how they're doing. I created a little counter in here, so it's been 19 days since we listed them, just so you guys will know where we're at. And we sold 38, which is 38%, $963 gross of the 100 we listed back on November 16th. I think that's pretty good. What do you think, Karin?
Oh yeah, look at that. It's times 2 a day from that 100. I think that's.
Yeah, 2 a day. Oh yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I hadn't thought about it that way.
See, I got math.
You do. You have Karin math.
I got Karin math.
Car math. That's kind of funny.
What, did I have math?
No, just the car math.
You're not the only one that gets to have math, you know.
I know, right? Right. So, yeah, we are. I think that's good, you know, and we were talking about that today. Those 100 jeans we listed, guys, back in November, they were nothing special.
No.
It's not like we pulled out a certain 100.
No, we didn't pad the deck. In fact, purposefully, we did not.
Right.
So
we made it so we just pulled our regular 100 jeans, and you know they've been selling at a pretty good rate. That's actually a really good rate. So maybe listing 100 a day. You know, I'm going to go back to the stop sharing here because I don't feel like sharing with you people. No, just kidding. But to King's point, yeah, we can list 100 a day, but man, to try to do that even 8 days in a month and let's say 800. Oof. That'd be rough.
Yeah.
That'd be rough. I mean, we could do it, but we'd also have to go source that many, which creates another set of issues. I mean, it's hard with the way that we source and what we do. It would be hard for us to source more than, I don't know, like on average, could we source 115 a day? That's kind of a lot. Maybe. I mean, we can do that.
Yeah.
But can we do it 8 times
consistently?
Yeah, could we do that 6 times in a month and get 900? Because we're gonna have some fallout. There's gonna be some defects. They're not all gonna be good, and so that would give us 800 to list plus, and then we have to take 8 days of the month doing 100 in a day to do it.
That's too many numbers for me.
New challenge. We'll see, but that's a lot. That's a lot. So let's see what other questions are here too. So Lauren says, I'm trying to set at least 2 heavy sourcing days a month. Yeah, that makes sense.
A week.
Or a week, 2 heavy days a week. Yeah, I mean, you know, people have this big argument about should you source every day? Should you make a couple big sourcing days a week? And I don't know. I mean, if you would tell me that I would sell 38 pair of jeans from every 100 I sell every 19 days, if I did 100 a day, then we should probably do that.
Yeah.
Because if we did 8 days of that in a month, we would sell 8 times 38. What is 264? Yeah, something like that.
That's your math. That's not
no, more than that. 8 times 38. Yeah, it's almost 300. Excuse me, close to about 300. So yeah, I would absolutely do that, but we'd have to still be able to source that many. That's the problem. Like, I don't know if we can get 900 pair of jeans out of our sources in 1 month. I don't know if we could do that. Maybe 6 days of 150. Oh, I don't think that's doable either. Not really. Maybe, but not really.
Well, is our goal to kill ourselves?
No.
Eat, sleep, breathe, eBay sales?
Right. That's exactly what it is. I don't know. Let's see what other questions are out there.
I don't know if you have a question mark, and
yeah, I probably missed some, and if I did, my apologies. But there was just a lot that went out. The spreadsheet is still in process. I promise you, that is on the list for this week.
We actually made a list.
We did. We made a list. We're checking it twice.
And we actually stuck to it today.
We did. We knocked things off the list, and we're going to knock more things off the list today and tomorrow and going forward. There's a list. Lists are great. Sense of accomplishment, right? Let's see here. I'm trying to read through and scroll through these. What else were we looking for today at that outlet mall? We were looking for other stuff too, right?
Anything. We went into the We did, yeah. I mean, we just agree we wouldn't limit ourselves at all.
Yeah.
Anything that would be multipliable.
Yeah, we were looking for like socks, boxers.
Mm-hmm. We even went in the fancy kitchen store, but again, their idea of clearance, it was originally 19 and they marked it down to 16 or something crazy. Yeah, that's just not going to flip.
Yeah.
There's not a lot in the translation there. That didn't work.
I used to work in an outlet mall many years ago, and when we first started, when that mall first opened and that store opened, we did get last year's fashions and so on. So there were good discounts. But then over time, they started developing lines just for the outlet store, which were a little cheaper than the retail store, but still pretty expensive. So after a while, it wasn't really that great a deal anymore. That happens with a lot of outlets I see. They're not really that discounted from time. I mean, you can find good discounts, and we might check back after Christmas. There might be some deals. They got to dump that product.
Yeah.
What do y'all? Let's see.
Will wants to know about youth clothing. We do not sell, unless it's something we find like little baby Nikes or something, like kids shoes that'll go for ridiculous. We don't sell kids jeans.
Yeah.
Or kids clothing. And mostly because it's just not in our demographic anymore. My kid is almost 17. So anything that we're selling really is adult that would come from him. And it's just not our wheelhouse right now. So.
And we could, but kids clothing in general does not sell for as high a price as adults. That's just a fact. And that's not saying you can't find some great deals and make some great profit. I'm not suggesting that, but it's just not a market we really are that interested in. But it's absolutely viable if you can find it cheap enough and plentiful and in good shape. And somebody said about ready to start using QuickBooks for inventory control and accounting. Your reason you didn't go with that type of SW? I'm not sure what SW is, but we actually are going to be talking to an accountant, and we're going to be talking about a little different setup for all that. So we'll let you know how that goes. I'm not opposed to QuickBooks or anything. I mean, they're great programs, don't get me wrong, but there's definitely a learning curve trying to figure out how to make it work for your business. And eBay and Amazon and reselling businesses are a little trickier sometimes to sort of wrap your head around. We're even thinking about hiring Karin.
What? Who's she? And can I beat her up? Wait, no.
Yeah, we're gonna look into being able to hire hire her for the business and so on, and just what that would look like. And because there's lots of things and skills she brings to the table and things that she could do differently that we could, the business could really use. And so we're going to look into that too. So we'll see how that goes. Never stick your fingers in an outlet. That's good to know, Sadie. That's solid advice. My fingers are too big to fit in an outlet. Like, do you have fork width fingers or something? Like they're the width of a pencil. I mean, my fingers can't even fit in an outlet. I don't know what size fingers you have, sir.
I'm just going to turn it. It has a hot spot on the thing. You could see the light in the video.
Oh.
I got tech skills too. Just you.
All right. Let's see. Somebody else had some other questions. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to skip over them. When you first start, do you run a loss leader so you get a lot of sales and get high and best match search? Joseph asked. Joseph, you asked that question a couple of times. I'm sorry I didn't answer you earlier. So the question is, do you run a loss leader to kind of get higher up in the search and so on? You can do that. Some people will even advocate that you go on and you sell really cheap items that have virtually no chance of being defective or flawed or broken. Like some people used to say, go on to eBay and sell baseball cards, Pokemon cards, some $1 a piece, ship them in an envelope, and get a bunch of feedback that's good so that, people will start trusting you as a seller and then move into what your niche is or niches are. You can do that. I mean, but I don't think there's any reason really to run a loss leader. I mean, you could, but why not just go and put items out there that are good pictures, good descriptions, accurately described, with, the right item specifics and so on, the right pricing, and just act like you're a professional business from day one. The buyer on the other end doesn't know how big or small your business is. They can see your feedback number and make guesses, but they really don't know. You could have been selling another account. You could have been a brick and mortar store that decided to go online. I mean, you could be anybody. So why not just project that you're a confident, full-fledged seller with, as professional as can be, and just, put that out in the universe, and don't think that you have to, portray yourself as something less than anybody else. So I don't know that I would go with the loss leader approach. I mean, you can, and I don't know if it'll help your search rankings or not, but I would just go after sales from day one and learn and adapt and evolve. Do you sell jeans, skirts, skirts, or jean jackets? When we can find them, yes. We do have some jean skirts, I think, right now. Mm-hmm. And we've sold some. We've had some success with Not Your Daughter jeans skirts. I think we sold some of those.
We have a silver skirt, and we have there's another one, another fancy.
Yeah. We don't find a lot of great denim jackets.
We have an old a vintage Ralph Lauren, though.
Oh, do we?
Mm-hmm. I don't think we've listed it yet.
Oh.
I can't remember if
I'd forgotten about it until she just said that. So yes, we do sell those, and I think they'll work really well. Let's see here. Is there a super cheap way? Jeremy asks, is there a super cheap way to print off your own barcodes on a Zebra printer, be able to scan them when they sell, where you can put like your data in, like purchase price, sales data? I looked into that, Jeremy, and I think the answer to your question is no. There's not a super cheap way, and it's not because it's not cheap. It's because it's just not. The problem is not really creating a barcode per se for you're basically creating like an inventory barcode that would store the info. It's the back end application. It's creating or using a third party solution to produce the barcode that has like your price, your cost, where it's located, all that stuff. I've looked into that. I did. And I rejected it. I just decided it was not worth the expense and time to set it up and use it. There are third-party apps that'll do that, and you're welcome to explore them on your own, but I did not find them a workable solution for me in my business. But it definitely can be done. But I wouldn't say that it's super cheap. I don't remember the price that I was thinking it was in my brain, rough top of my head. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but it was not an easy solution. And it was because of the software. Prof, do you buy from eBay to sell overseas? No, Henry, not really, but I definitely sell overseas with GSP. So I just don't really buy from eBay that much to do it. Man, this lighting got really bad. I know. Can we turn on the, all right, I'm gonna turn on the overhead because it is just way too dark now. It's like we're hearing, sorry, there's a little glare.
Yeah, a little something called the sun going down this time every day that we'll make note of next time.
Right, exactly. Man, this is the problem with doing a show at 4 instead of 2.
Somebody also asked you to do, we can't really do it now, but somebody earlier asked if you would show how you work your Dymo printer in relation to eBay. And you really don't, right? The way you have it set up, you're pulling it directly from the spreadsheet and you're highlighting it and telling it to print, and it just pulls it and prints it, right?
Well, the Dymo printer, what I use, the Dymo printer comes with its own software. I have the Dymo 450 Turbo. And I open up that software and I copy my inventory label, my SKU number and location. I just pull those 2 cells and copy those 2 cells in spreadsheet in Excel, and Command P or Command V those, paste those right in to that open label in the Dymo software. And what that does is, and then I just print it, and then I attach that label to the jean. So it's already in the spreadsheet that's where it's located, and that's the item number. And now I've attached a physical item number to it. That prevents me from typing the wrong thing. It prevents me from writing the wrong thing. It's just, anytime you can use technology to take your hands out of it, you should, because you're going to make more mistakes. I mean, the spreadsheet's not going to make a mistake as long as you don't tell it something to do that is a mistake. So that's what I use. That's one of the things I use a Dymo for.
Oh, and actually, Brian's question was printing the shipping labels. We haven't done that yet. Because we had mentioned, and that was my fault. We had mentioned we haven't done that yet, Brian, but we're looking into getting that second one instead of, because every time we move it or disconnect it or change anything with it, it gets all gunked up and stuck. So we'd rather just have a second Dymo. So as soon as we have that, we'll certainly share that with everybody and show how that works. But it's just going to involve a different size label and printing it that way. From what we've read so far, it's not going to be that big a deal. It should just, and it'll actually print on a smaller, what do you call it, roll.
Right. Part of the issue is too, like you only have 2 USB ports on a Mac. So you start running out of USB ports really quickly because the Dymo connects, USB ports. So I don't know. Somebody asked too, there was a question that said, from Megan, said transitioning to primary income being reselling. Any tips for ways to keep sales flowing when time to list is really tight? There's two ways you can do that. You can list lower price items that are in demand and are going to sell quickly. You're probably not going to make as much on them. Or you could try to list a bit higher profit items so you don't have to sell as many of them. Either way, you're not going to have to list or sell as many to make income. Of course, it gets into, what's really income and how much you need and all that. That's another story. Let's see. Prof, did you get a new printer yet? No, okay.
That was that.
That was that.
Oh, and no, we didn't get a new laser printer, like normal printer either. We're going to stick it out, right?
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah. Moonlighter says just bought and started using half sheet labels, really not taping labels on box. Yeah, I love half sheet labels. I mean, the Dymo can print off smaller labels and they're cheaper, but man, those half sheets are just nice. Like they're a good size, and I don't know. I mean, for what I do for sending out for address labels, those half sheets I think are great. There is some little quirks about it though. If you have to go back and reprint a label on eBay, it kind of screws up the formatting of those and wants to print it right in the middle of the page. So for some reason you have to reprint a label after you've already gone out of that item's screen. Sometimes that can be a little tricky, but overall, I love half sheet labels. I don't know why. I just do.
I do too. It's better than putting a piece of paper in a pocket or
cutting something out.
Or somebody said cutting it out or having to tape it, because you always run the risk if you put packing tape over that laser printed barcode that you're going to.
Yep, and it won't be readable. You could get a little wrinkle in the tape, and anything can happen, and plus, it's just time, guys. Like the label prints, you peel it off, you're done.
Heaven forbid the skew becomes a skew. Sorry.
I don't know where you're going. It's getting late in the day. She's getting punchy. Let's see. How do you feel about advertising for items when sourcing is tight? Why not? Why not, Aaron or Ron? I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right, but I would. Why not? I mean, if you want to advertise for items and your sourcing budget's tight and a deal comes up, but you don't think it's worth it or you can't afford it with your budget, you can just say no. You don't owe anybody. It's not like you have to buy their item just because they respond to you. So absolutely. When are you going to find what?
Yeah, you're
reading. Is that the one you're talking about? Big Tech says, now that you got jeans down to a science, I don't know if that's true, but I appreciate the vote of confidence. Now that you got that down to a science, when are you going to find something else to source and source well? I have 3 items I sell well. That's a great question, Big Tech. I don't know.
I think we talk about it all the time. It could be argued that we're in process of finding those.
Yeah.
We know we need to.
Yeah, I think you're right. We actually talked about something today. Remember I mentioned, but let's not mention it right now.
Oh, because
we're keeping suspense. But yeah, we did mention something along those lines today. And I've said this a million times. I'm going to say it again. If you want to source something different than whatever it is you're primarily sourcing, you've got to think about your supply. Where can you get it? How much can you get? What's going to be your cost of acquisition? what's your learning curve to learn that product? If there is, a significant learning curve, what are you going to have to do that? How much time and energy are you going to have to put into it? And we're relatively fortunate that we live in a part of the country where jeans are relatively cheap, as well as some other clothing items. So they make a natural fit for sourcing. If you want to source 5 items a month, you can find tons of things you could find 5 of. But when you need to find hundreds, that becomes a different set of problems. So, but that's a great question, Big Tech, and just keep an eye out. We might be talking about some things very soon that we are going to be sourcing and doing as well. So,
well, and we've mentioned before that the online reselling of jean market is going to come to not a halt, but it's not going to be. What are you doing?
I'm knocking over things. Sorry.
The new organization under the desk where the printer sits now. But we've talked about jean sales are going to slow way down in a couple of months, right?
Right.
So we have to have something else that will sell the same. Sell during that lull, if you will. So we're working on it, and we'll definitely keep everybody posted. And there's several ideas in the chat that we've considered. We've talked about socks, and there's some other things listed there. But
D. Hector asks, do you have specific days of the week where you only list and mail and not source, a weekly routine? We mail every day.
7 days a week. We don't go to we were talking about that. It's funny. It's a funny question. We were talking about that the other day, that to figure out how often we go to the post office, and we go at least 6 times a week. We don't go on Sunday unless we're going out of town or something.
Right.
And then sometimes twice in a day.
And the reason I'm going to say, one of the reasons we're going to do that, well, we do 1 day, processing time, but guys, let me tell you something. One of the easiest ways here's a tip. One of the easiest ways you can get great feedback on eBay, and it costs you nothing, is to ship earlier than what you said you're going to ship. Because what happens is that buyer is going to get a notification that their item has shipped. Now, that's going to happen when you print the label, basically. And then, of course, there's going to be a scan-in time and all that good stuff. But like today, before Karn and I went out and sourced, we had about, it was like 25 items to take to the post office. And literally, in the time when we were getting ready to go, 5 more sold. She makes fun of me every time, but
because you're like
I know, it's invariable. Like, you've just finished processing all your orders and one sells. You're like,
but again, reseller probs, right?
Right.
It's not a terrible problem to have.
I didn't even print off the sheet. I just took my iPad upstairs to the inventory room. I pulled all 5 of those, and we sent those today too. Because guess what those buyers are going to think? Man, I bought this pair of jeans, and this guy shipped it an hour later.
And in one case, it was like 5 minutes later, wasn't it?
It was about 5 minutes later. Guess what their feedback's going to be? Super fast shipping, super fast. I mean, it is such an easy way to get great feedback, and it costs you nothing. You're going to spend that time either now or later. So if there's any way you can spend that time to get that item packed up and shipped right away, do it. Just do it. I'm telling you, I get so many comments on fast shipping, blah. Okay, I don't control the shipping, but I do control when I create the shipping label. That is in my control. And so that's what they see. They see that, hey, your item's already shipped. It's just so easy it's such an easy way to get great feedback, guys, and to make your buyers happy. And I mean, it's just such a no-brainer to me. Just do it. I'm telling you, you will. It's just incredibly easy. So yeah, we ship every day for the most part. We go to the post office every day. So
we don't schedule that. We will schedule when we source and how we source, especially if we're going on a trip, because we do trips out of town that are sometimes where we have to stay overnight, which we are due to go back on again.
Right.
Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back. No. Go ahead. You were saying. It's the tea talking now. At this point.
She's getting a little punchy. Yeah, I was trying to see what other questions there were. So on, King says he ships every day for tax
purposes.
And at 7 a.m., my stuff gets there super quick. Yeah, and you can, if you drop off in the big blue mail boxes that they have out in various locations around the community, it'll tell you when they pick up. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be when your item theoretically is going to get picked up, and then it's going to get scanned in sometime after that. So you can always kind of gauge all that. Like we have one box at the post office that they check at 1 p.m. Monday through Friday. So if I'm in a real big hurry and I don't have time to go inside, or maybe I don't have a lot of items to ship, I'll just put it in that bin or in that box and know that they're going to pick it up that day. It's going to go inside. It's going to get scanned in probably that day. Again, it costs me nothing to print that label quickly and get the process going, guys. I mean, don't make your buyers wait. They've given you their money. Get the product to them. I mean, we get pissy when buyers don't do what we think they should do. Let me tell you something. If you're a buyer and some guy is jerking you around about how long he's taking to ship, that is going to piss you off because you've given him your money. It doesn't matter if it's $10 or $10,000. You bought it. You want it. So get it in the mail. Get it moving. Easy way to get great feedback. Do you contact buyers with the tracking number to let them know you're mailing it now or in the morning? You don't have to, Fabric. If you buy if you buy it through eBay and you have free tracking on it, which a lot of the post office services do, they're going to get a notification shipped and they can get the tracking number.
It updates that night. It won't update right away, but it will say that a label has been printed and it's in process.
Yep. So they can track it themselves.
So there's nothing extra you have to do.
Right. It would just be an extra step, and there's no reason to do it unless there's some issue with the shipment sometimes and somebody didn't get the tracking number. But that's pretty unlikely. Crafty says, could we do a repeat of the show? Yeah.
Starting now. Although it's going to be dark, and it's going to be like our Halloween show all over again. Spooky.
Exactly. So, anyway, all right, guys. Well, listen, I think that's about all I had, right?
Yeah, we're going to go get a Christmas tree or pick up a fake Christmas tree
in
storage.
Yeah, we're going to go chop down our fake Christmas tree in a warehouse and bring it back home. And
we were going to buy one, in all honesty, but the boy said, no, that's not fiscally responsible.
Yes, he's become an economist. Yeah. And he's told us not to waste the money on it. So anyway, thank you guys for coming out today.
Yeah, it was great hanging out with everybody, starting the week off right, yeah?
I know, right? Even though it was a little bit later show, but we just had too much going on earlier today. There's no way we could get to the show until 4 o'clock. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys got some good feedback out of it. I think we had some good tips there on how to be efficient in your eBay listing process and so on. There's obviously even more to that. That subject's got a lot we could talk about, but at least we got the conversation started.
Well, and we're going to continue our experiment with our new, and we didn't show it to you. It was our intent to take you to the photo room. Remember we talked about that? So the next time we have a show, it'll be maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. We'll actually take you back to the new photo room.
Yep. We'll show you the setup.
We'll show you, because we're still, like we said, the experiment is ongoing, and we're kind of ironing out what that all looks like right now. So
yeah.
We'll be more than happy to show you the new photo setup the next time we all get together.
All right. So if you like this comment, guys, we are really excited that you did, but you should probably do something before you leave. And what is that, Karen?
You should smash it.
Smash what?
Oh, smash the thumbs up. The like button.
Leave me a comment down below, too, if you're watching this later, or a question, and I do my best to get to them. It's getting tough to get to all of them now, but I really do try to at least see them, or at least comment or like them or acknowledge them.
So keep pounding, people. Keep listing. We can get through December, I promise.
Yes. You got to go after it. Like, this is the time to get that revenue, right? I mean, this is when people are buying, and they're just, I've done more sales today than I did yesterday, I think, already. It's Monday, go figure. But
it's out there. If you want it, you got to go get it.
Yep, absolutely. And we're going to go get it. The Christmas tree, that is.
Yes, we are.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it for now, and we will talk to you guys really soon.
This is Gypsy, Earl, and Vince, the vultures in the background. Karen and
Prof Sales
saying good sales to you.